There we go. So jump into Leverhulme Park at the north end. Watch out for walkers and dogs. Oh, that wind's picking up now. Always a headwind. Past car park on the left. Play area straight ahead. Be busy tomorrow morning with the park run. I need to pull my finger out and do a park run myself. I've got the barcode, I've signed up. Always doubt yourself. Feels like I can never do it. But you can walk it. You don't need to run all the way around. You can run and walk, which is typically what I do on training walks anyway. I'll go out for a walk and I'll be on the old railway trails, and if I'm feeling a bit energetic, then I'll run for as long as I can. And when I've had enough, I'll slow down and I'll just repeat that like an interval training. It works very well. Gets the heart rate up. There you go. I always put it on turbo just coming out of them lights. You need to make sure you get across that junction because the right lane goes straight ahead. You get some people who don't spot it and they'll be in the left lane and they'll go straight ahead. You need to beat them across the junction. Right, we're on cycle route 6 now. To the sports ground. Football fields will be busy again tomorrow, and Saturday morning. Lots of kids. Hopefully the weather's good for them. Been quiet this afternoon. Well, it is a Friday afternoon and it's a work day. Be a lot busier at weekend. Let's take a detour here. This path will actually take us to as close as we can to the original line of the Bolton to Bury railway trail. A lot of houses have been built on the path, so the sports ground where we've just come is offline with the railway, but this is roughly the railway track. And I believe all this ground left and right has been sold for a housing development. Which, unless they keep the path where it is now, is going to be another section of the old railway line that you have to divert around. I know you've already got the path around the sports ground anyway, so my fear is that they're going to have very little interest in keeping this path open. So back on the railway trail. $760 bars. Just a fraction too wide to get through there in one hit. Which is a shame. And here we are at the bottom of Somerton Avenue. Very popular spot with dog walkers. Very, very narrow section here. There's almost always a walker or a dog coming the other way. It looks a bit clear at the minute. We're good to go. Another section of the railway should go straight ahead where I'm pointing now. But obviously we have to follow the road. We'll rejoin the cycleway in a second. There we go. Gap in the traffic. Bradley Fold. So this path goes all the way to Bury. Radcliffe Road, is that? Over the bridge? You think I'd know the names of the roads. I do know the names of the roads, but trying to do two things at once. Riding along and thinking of road names doesn't help. I'm not that coordinated. So like I said, this is the first time that I've taken the microphone out with me. The camera I'm using is a DJI Osmo Action 5, and the camera I've got is the DJI Mic Mini 2 wireless setup. And once you've paired it to the camera, you keep the microphone attached to you. It will automatically connect and disconnect as you turn the camera on and off, but the mic is constantly looking for a device to connect to, so it works very, very well so far. Well, I've been testing. It's the first time I've taken it out on a ride. See, normally my audio on the videos comes from the camera itself, which is mounted on the front of the bars. And you get a lot of tyre noise.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Thanks.
Yeah. So be very careful. Even with the bell, you don't know whether they've got headphones in or earbuds, or whether they have trouble hearing. You have to assume they haven't heard you until you get right up to them, or just slow down and try not to spook them. Because I walk these paths as well, and I know how annoying it is for cyclists to come racing up behind you, nice and quiet on skinny tyres. No warning, no noise. Even when you're looking back every few minutes to check for cyclists in the distance, you can't check it all the time when you're walking, so just be courteous. I think what we'll do, continue along here, which is a residential road which is built on the old railway path. We'll continue along here and then we'll divert around Hardman Street and rejoin the path on its original line. It's a shame here. The actual railway used to be just over on the right, where the houses are, where the goes through the back gardens of those houses as it is at the minute. When you get up to the road here, there's a bridge, which is no longer a bridge, but it's the structure's still there. There's nothing underneath it. This is the bridge with the brickwork parapet. So the railway used to run under where we're standing now. I think we'll go on the pavement for this little bit. This is Hardman Street. Railway line used to be over on the left. There's no way through because it's industrial units, private land now. So, that's the nettles. I've got long pants on to protect my knees from the nettles and come out with fingerless gloves, so my hands are getting stung. This is the railway trail just about. Bit muddy. There you go. Thank you. Those roots in that small section there, very, very slippy in both directions, but usually I can go the other way. When I'm climbing up the hill it's fine, but coming down the hill it's hit and miss whether your tyre skids out. So we're on the railway trail again. There's a few slow bends on this section. I get the feeling that the original railway didn't actually go on this path, but it was just a few feet one side or the other. But the path is on the railway corridor. Right. More houses, so we have to divert south to the south. This section of the path is not on the old railway. We're probably 50 metres south, running parallel with where the railway used to be. But on the right at the minute, you might not be able to see it, but on the right there's Elton Reservoir. So we're going to pass the north side of Elton Reservoir, and once we've got to the end of the railway trail in Bury, we'll come back around Elton for a nice muddy finale. There's a little brook that feeds Elton Reservoir. All right. Now up here, you used to have to go over the bridge between the trees there to rejoin the trail. That's actually a bridge ahead, and the railway runs left to right underneath it. But in the last few weeks, this has been done. The actual railway is down in the cutting on the left-hand side bit behind these trees, but it's so overgrown now And the path does go to that bridge, but the bridge has been filled in, so there's no way through it. What you had to do was come off the railway trail, go into the residential area off to the left, and then rejoin. But now they've built this, and it's fantastic. Thank you. This turning on the left, the ramp up there, that's where you used to have to come off here. Wait. Fantastic now. The turning on the right here is how you will get to Elton Reservoir. When I go down to the reservoir directly, I'll usually come up that path and join the cycleway here. Thank you. And this is Daisyfield Viaduct, which used to carry the railway over the canal and the River Irwell, and Wellington Street, which is down below. I think we'll go down to the canal actually. Show you another interesting little tidbit where they've council have done some recent work. I think it's the council anyway. Tight turn here. There we go. I've noticed that in a previous video I commented on this barrier. It was the worst barrier in history because the low section for getting your pedal over, for letting bikes through, was so high. Whatever bike you're on, you literally had to carry your bike. That's looking down towards Radcliffe, River Irwell. There's Daisyfield Viaduct. That's coming off the moors that way. I'm not sure whether this used to be a pedestrian bridge or whether it's always been a pedestrian bridge or whether it used to be a pipe bridge. Probably a pedestrian bridge. It's got a little bit of architecture to it, but not much. Right, below Daisyfield Viaduct, Wellington Street in Bury. And we're approaching the second area that's been renewed in the last few weeks. Anyone who's been here previously will know to get to the canal from here, there was a couple of 100 metres of canal that was literally about 2 feet wide, very overgrown on both sides, lots of trees, short sight distance. You couldn't see very far, you didn't know what was around the next corner. It was just people using it. Well, this is now that track. They've basically widened it out, and now I didn't know, in the cobbles where I'm riding now, this used to be the bit that you could see. So on the left and right of me, including those coping stones on the right, that was all overgrown with feet of debris and soil. I didn't know this road existed until they exposed it. Like I say, if you're familiar with the area, you'll know. But this was always a... I'm going to stop here. Always a nightmare to get through. We'll slow down for the horse. I think that horse will be taking a left just around the corner. So I might stop here. You can see where they've cut the trees down. I think that's fantastic. This used to be such a scary place to walk. As I say, it used to wind its way through. There was just basically a gap in the overgrowth, the vegetation and the trees and the bushes. And the only way it stayed as open as a path, I think, was purely because people were using it. They just basically barged their way through. But I didn't know there was cobbles up at that first section. So, excellent to see. It completes, it gets rid of a big worry for a lot of people. Let's have a look at what's on the wheel. Cow poo or horse manure. That's why the leaves were sticking to it. Look at that. Coping stones on both sides. I didn't know there were coping stones at all on here. I think they've put a bit of stone down. This must have been a bit soft. Right, so stop here. I've just stopped for a few minutes. There is a horse down ahead of me on the canal towpath. You can't see it from here, it's there on the corner now, but it didn't take the exit I thought, so I think it might be going to the reservoir. So I just stopped for a drink and let the horse get out of the way. It's not wide enough to get a horse past, and I don't want to go up behind a horse and risk spooking it. I'm not in any particular rush, so give it a few minutes and we'll be on the road again. Just take it nice and steady. Give them enough room. So continuing along this canal, which is very overgrown at the minute, this takes you down to Radcliffe. You cross over Water Street in Radcliffe, the canal continues, takes you all the way to Prestley Locks at Knob End, where the Meccano Bridge is. And from there you can turn right and go to Bolton in the infilled canal. Or you can turn left and head all the way down through Drinkwater Park in towards Salford. And here we are. This is the bridge we're looking for. I think that little stop just let the horse get out of the way. Not sure whether the horse went left or right. Stable's down to the left. Right. Which way shall we go? I think we'll go right here. This is Elton Reservoir. Well, it's the path that goes up to Elton Reservoir. This is actually a private road. There's only, it's for access to a farm which is just ahead of us. And obviously the local water authority have a right of access to get to the dam. Do. A few blind spots. Not so bad in the winter coming up here, but with the bushes in full bloom right at the end of summer. Shall we go? Let's go this way. Up past the sailing club, which is on the left. Mouthful of flies, lovely. That's me talking. I could see the flies in the distance and I still carried on talking. Ooh, them flies. They hit my glasses and the helmet and it feels like hailstones just going through them. Jesus. Can I do it in a wanna without stopping? Yes! What's the worst can happen? Oh. The worst that can happen is I rip a £500 electronic GX Axis rear mech off the back of the bike. But we managed. It took me months to realise that you could actually ride through them at a careful speed if you had your pedals set correctly. So we've done this bit already. We'll nip back down to Daisyfield Viaduct. But instead of going back to down the canal, we'll head up towards Bury. Not going to go into Bury. Just do a couple of Ks that I go around on one of my little bimbles when I'm out and about. Okay. There's nobody hold the phone up to their ear anymore. Hey? There we go. Good parking, that man. So, here comes Bumpy Track. And on a Sunday morning, at between 9 and 10, if not earlier. If you come down here, you'll see a classic rail stop in the distance there. And Bury Station up there. And what they do is they bring the steam trains out from the sidings, take them up to the station and run the leisure passenger services on a Sunday. I've managed to catch them 3 times the last 3 weekends, purely by coincidence. I didn't intend to go out, but it just so happens that I was in the area and I heard the toot of the whistle and the smoke coming out of the boiler, steam. Manchester Old Road. We're going to turn right down here. Bit of a wave to Tom and Ann. If you know, you know. There we go. Nicely done. So we'll go on this path now, past a couple of schools. And up on the right, the top of that embankment, the other side of the trees, is the Metrolink between Bury Station and Radcliffe. We'll be crossing over that in a second. Well, in a couple of minutes anyway. Can't really see the trams from this path. Some of these nettles are starting to creep closer and closer onto the racing line now. I say I normally wear full finger gloves, whatever the weather. But I found a pair of fingerless gloves which I've been looking for ages and decided to put them on today because it's not too cold. And forgot about the nettles. Long pants to keep the legs safe and then forgot about my fingers. I don't like riding on cobbles, but I like the fact that there are cobbles. This way they've put the done utilities work in the past. They've just backfilled it with tarmac. Have to scar up the cobbles. Shame. Warth Road. Radcliffe Road. What you find is that there's a Radcliffe Road. There are several Radcliffe Roads all around here, depending on which side of Radcliffe you're on. And on some of the previous rides I've put Radcliffe Road, and they're in completely different parts of town. Oh, we're here. It's River Irwell again. Carry on. All right, okay. We've got the River Irwell on the right. Oh, just missed the tram. Oh dear. That would have been good for the video, wouldn't it? Never mind. So I'll run up the side of the railway line. Oh, look at all these stingy things. Get off. Not too bad. Yeah. The canal just on the other side of this stone slab on edge wall, and this is the bridge that we went over not long ago. Over the canal again. Woohoo. So I think this time we're going to go across the top of the dam at Elton Reservoir. Right or left? No, we'll go right. That will point us in the right direction once we've gone across the dam itself. So back up this hill. Low power, high cadence, keep things moving. And there we are. We'll stop at Elton Reservoir. There's the sailing club. One boat out today. And the beast. Not too muddy given the fact that it's been raining the last few days. So I think from here we're going to head along the top of the dam, up the farm fields and back to the Bradley Fold cycleway and head back that way. It's a lovely weather. Yeah, I'm really glad I didn't listen to the weather forecast on my phone this morning. It basically said there was a couple of hours rain this morning. Basically said it was nice this morning and then pissing down the rest of the day. Whereas the Met Office said it's going to rain for a couple of hours, and it didn't. But there was a chance of rain this morning, and then it was going to be fine up until 7 o'clock. So I'm really glad I listened to them. Anyway, enough yabba yabba. We're off. Right, let's get off. Oh, don't know why I groaned then. It was absolutely no effort whatsoever setting off. Yeah. You might have been shaking a little bit then because I didn't put my camera in all the way into the clip, but you're nice and secure now. As with most places, the water level's lower than normal, but nowhere near as bad as it has been on the other reservoirs. Maybe dropped 3-4 feet, but it's a big reservoir. Right, to be careful up here now. So I've had 4 punctures here because of thorns. They've cut these bushes, they've cleaned up the branches as much as they can, but there's lots of little thorns knocking around. So we're going to go over grass way. But the good thing is, all the punctures, 4 of them, were all sorted by tubeless sealant, Petey's finest. I've always been a bit skeptical about it, but seeing it in action, seeing the thorns being pulled out of the tyre and a little white bead of sealant come out with no loss of air. Uh-oh. Let me just check. It's happened. I'll show you in a sec. Yeah. Check this business. See that? Pull that out. There it goes. Psst. And that's it. That's sealed. Fantastic. PT's tubeless sealant. Good stuff. So, it looks as though they've cut these hedges as well. It's virtually impossible to see. Virtually impossible to see the twigs on the ground. They just blend in. The only way I know that I've got a thorn in my tyre at the moment is if it's stuck to a twig that taps on the mudguard, the front or rear. Every time it goes around, you get the tick, 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 tick. That's the stables. I see a mini digger working up here. Right. There we go. Brook Bottom Road. And here is the stables again, at the end of Hardman Street. Very windy, based on our earlier trip. Yeah, a long queue of traffic coming up the hill. Take advantage of somebody blocking the traffic. Saves me having to use the crossing. Okay. So we're now heading towards Bolton. There is a boundary between the Greenway, which I think is at the other side of the road we've just crossed. sort of up by Elton. I think that's the Greenway, whereas this is Bradley Fold Cycleway. I'm not exactly sure where the boundary is. They appear on Google Maps as two separate names, but I don't exactly know when it changes. It would make sense for it to change just at the housing development that we've just come through. Another lot of flies in the face. Flies in the face of humanity. Hey, Pop. Some walkers. Tinkle of the bell. Cute. Cute. It's strange, you get how different people react to the bell. Some people just put their hand up and move to the side, which is perfect. It acknowledges that they've heard me. I know exactly what's expected of me. There's some people who just carry on walking, but they've heard you. There's some people who carry on walking and they haven't heard you, and then that's all surprised and say, why don't you use your bell? And you go, I did use my bell. You didn't listen. Traffic jam. Traffic jam. He's gone wrong way, the old lad. And of course you get the other people who are all very well-meaning, but they almost panic. You give them plenty of notice, ring the bell, and they'll stop dead in the tracks. Look round, see there's a bike coming, and dive for cover in the bushes, screaming at the dog, get out of the way! Bless them. I always assume that nobody's heard you. I think I've got a fly in the back of the throat. Thank you.
Always, mate.
All right. Shall we go back to Leverhulme Park? I feel like we should go back to Leverhulme Park. Here's that one gate that screws things up for you. Best reason I can think of for getting a gravel bike, getting your Strava sections, get through them bloody barriers. Bless you. So we didn't come on this section before. We turned off before we got this far. Well, this is the other end of the playing fields. Clouds are getting a bit grey, and the wind's picked up a little bit. It wouldn't surprise me if we had a few spots of rain shortly. And we're back at Leverhulme Park. Straight across the road. That never happens. Right. Anyway, We're at the top end of Leverhulme Park where we started, so I shall bid you farewell if I ever release this video. Who knows, stranger things have happened. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the banter. It was a new one for me, so I'll listen to it back and see about doing it again in the future. So thanks for watching, all the best, and I'll see you on the next one.